Hi everybody, my name is Robin and welcome to my channel Bird's Eye Stitches. This is a channel about cross stitch, so if you are new here then welcome. I hope you are here because you have a love of cross stitch like I do. And if you are returning then still welcome. You are clearly here because you have a love of cross stitch just like I do. Today is Monday. It is January 20th, 2025. Normally I film on Sundays, but you all know that if I have a Monday where I do not have to be at work, today I don't have to be at work because it is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, which for my job, at least my position at my job, I do not have to be at work today. Now, tomorrow might be a little hairy because work still happens even if I am not there, so I get to catch up tomorrow, but that's okay. For today, I choose to spend part of my day chatting with all of you guys. So instead of filming on a Sunday, which would be yesterday, I'm filming today. All right. So January 20th. Today will be a normal check-in video. I've got some new starts, some whips, some plans. I had a giveaway on my last video, so we will announce the winner to that. I have another giveaway for this one, so we will talk about that one later. And yeah, we will get right to it. So, last video, I had a giveaway with the word funky. Well, the giveaway was for a pattern called Funky Bird. And I have absolutely loved looking at the comments from that giveaway because everyone is trying to incorporate the word funky in their comment, which is a really funky word to incorporate. So that's been a lot of fun. I jotted down just a couple of the comments that I have looked at and, really got a kick out of or resonated with. So I wanted to share those with all of you guys because I love to see the comments and reply to them, but I think it would be fun if I were to do kind of like a comment shout out at the beginning of my videos. That way you all could hear some of the fun stuff that's being shared. I guess you could read it, but I mean, I don't know that anybody watches a video and then reads the comments on the video. That seems like more work than what I would put in. So anyway. Without further ado, I've got a comment from Stitchin' with Lou. I am a poet and I did not even know it. I did not mean to do that. Okay, anyway, Stitchin' with Lou. So Stitchin' with Lou came over from the Magazine Monthly Challenge Cross Stitch Facebook group. Carolyn, that is a mouthful. What were we thinking when we came up with that really long name? Anyway, so Lou is part of that group and it's been really fun to see some of the people from the Cross Stitch Facebook group come on over to YouTube channels and watch the video and make comments. Simply because these are people that I talk to semi-regularly on Facebook, but they didn't know that I had a Flosstube channel. Or vice versa, I didn't know that they had one. So it's been really fun just to kind of see each other in a different, like a different platform. We all see what each other is stitching on Facebook, but now we can actually see it in a video format, which has been really fun. So Lou, thank you for making your way on over to my channel, and I look forward to chatting with you via comments and via Facebook as time goes on. Next up, I had a comment from, I've got my notebook here, from Christafira21. So Krista says that she listens to funky music while she meal preps. Now, obviously, Krista was entering for the giveaway and using the word funky. However, her comment really resonated with me because I also, number one, if I'm listening to music doing, we'll say housework, it has to be funky because you have to have some kind of funky beat just to keep you motivated. When I meal prep though, because I do not love to cook, I love to eat, so therefore I cook, but I get no joy, right? I have no joy comes from cooking, at least not usually. So in order to keep me motivated, I usually have my phone, I have it set up next to me, and I watch Flosstube while I meal prep and while I cook. That makes the job go by much quicker. So that was fun, just to kind of see what other people do when they are meal prepping. And then I had a comment from the Sin City Cross Stitcher. The Sin City Cross Stitcher is a Flosstube channel that I do watch. So it's always fun when I see other cross stitchers or Flosstubers that I watch leave me comments because, you get a little bit of fangirl and it's just fun to see like, oh, this is someone that I watch and they're watching. That's, I don't know, something you can share, I guess. But anyway, so the Sin City cross stitcher, she is also stitching from stash, which hopefully that's going well for you. So far so good for me. We're literally not through January yet, but that's okay. Anyway, she did not know that there was a Facebook group for people who are stitching from stash. So hopefully she has found that and has joined. If any of you all are stitching from stash, then please make your way on over to the Stitch from Stash Facebook group. Even if you're not stitching from stash, it is still kind of fun to watch others stitch from stash or attempt to stitch from stash. I know I've been a member of that group for a number of years. I have tried and failed twice to stitch from stash. Last year I did not even try, but I still stayed part of that group just to kind of watch everyone's progress. And this is the year that I will stitch from stash. Yes. Every time I say it out loud, the more times I say it, the more it will come true. And again, we're doing great. January 20th, but we're still doing great. So, all right, that is all that I had from my comments. I did want to give just a quick shout out to a Flosstube channel that I've been watching, the Seashore Stitcher. So she is new to Flosstube. She only has one video, and I actually just watched it yesterday. To be totally honest, I'm not even all the way through her first video. I'm about 3/4 of the way through, but I just loved it. I really resonated with her because at the very beginning of the video, she talks about how she still stitches using the old school magnet, like the magnetic board, which I also use. She does her tracking with paper and a highlighter, which I also do. She doesn't use, an iPad or any of that stuff, which I don't either. Now, I might at some point this year. It is on my goal list to venture into Pattern Keeper and all of that stuff, but I'm just not there yet. So she's the same in that. And it made me laugh just a little bit because she says she doesn't have a whole lot of whips. And I feel like anyone who starts Flosstube, right, you all start with one idea, and then just part of what Flosstube does, we enable each other. And it's really fun to see, where someone starts to where they are 5 years from now. I'm going to give an example of Carolyn Seazook Stitch, who, if any of you all watched her channel many, many, many moons ago, when she first started Flosstube, she was a monogamous stitcher. So she stitched only one thing until it was done. And that was her thing. And now, well, Carolyn, you are no longer a monogamous stitcher thanks to Flosstube. So obviously, to each their own and whatever journey they take, but I think it's really fun to watch people's first Flosstube video, even my own first Flosstube video, and then fast forward to where we are today and see what type of a track we took. So Seashore Stitcher, I think she probably already has a whole bunch of subscribers, but if you have not watched her, I will link her. Check her out. She seems like an extremely nice person, and I'm excited to see, what types of projects she has up her sleeve over the next few months. Okay, into stitching. I've been working on stuff for Bringo. Bringo is the month-long pop-up challenge that we do for January in the Magazine Monthly Cross Stitch Challenge group. I've been doing stuff for the acrostic for that same group. I've got a few new starts, no finishes, but at least I made some progress, so I'm good with that. All right, we're gonna start. I've got my stitching journal and planner. Looks like this. Now, I have been horrible at keeping up with my planner journal thing. Maybe February. February might be better for that. But I've done okay with keeping up with the main page. Main page looks like this. So you can see there's been a few days that I did not get any stitching in. It is what it is. Sometimes during my work week, they're blank days. This day here on the 16th made me laugh quite a bit because originally I wrote down breakdown. Okay, I did not have a breakdown, but I used that day to break down. I had a bunch of projects that I had finished, which you all have seen, right? The raccoon, funky bird, a couple of other ones. But I I still had all of the stuff sitting in the bag, and I needed to get that floss put away and the patterns put away and the bag reused. So I wrote breakdown. Then when I came back in here today to take this out to start filming, I looked down and I was like, I feel like that's a terrible word to put down in my long-term look back at what you did for the month. So I added the word projects, just in case I had any questions later. So yeah, breakdown projects. Other things you can see, I now have 3 new starts. And do you see this sticker right here? It's horrible. It's a frog sticker. I frogged. Had to do it. So we will talk about that here shortly. I got a couple of letters done in my acrostic, and I got a few things done in my Bringo board. So let's start by going over the Bringo board. This is what it looks like for me. The circles have been called, the X's have been done. There's not a whole bunch of X's, so I have a lot of catching up to do. But that's okay, I have plenty of time. And the nice part about waiting is that I can just take out a piece and I can just work on that piece for like 3 hours straight because they've called it multiple times. So I didn't really plan for that to happen, but I'm going to say that's going to help me get moving on a little bit better. We'll see. So let's get to projects. On top, I actually have my travel project piece. So I guess let's talk about that one first. So I have it's a new travel project piece. My last one was just too hard to do when I travel, so I put it in a regular bag and it will make its way, it'll just get pulled out at some point during this year. I pulled a new one and it's a Christmas piece, but it's a really simple piece to stitch, so it should work okay for travel. I got the On the Naughty List by Silver Creek Samplers, this pattern here. So let's go this way. So this is a full kit that came with my Black Needle Society's Nice List Advent box. And although I didn't really want to stitch True Christmas, I ended up going out of town recently, kind of unplanned, and I needed a piece. And this was something that was already kitted, had good blocks of color, it was on Aida, and it was something where, you know, if something happened while I was traveling, that I wouldn't be heartbroken if I couldn't find it. Now, I love this piece, but still, I try not to take anything too, you know, I'm not taking a big giant sampler with silks with me when I travel somewhere, just in case. So it will eventually look like this. I am stitching it on a piece of 18 count Aida from Fiber on the Whim in the color Cornflower. And we're this far. I have a foot. 1 foot. So looks like this. And this piece lives in my husband's truck because obviously I don't stitch on it while I'm driving. I stitch while he's driving, so it will go back in the truck. And we've got a couple different errands and things like that to run. I'll pull this thing out and we'll see how far we get by the next video. All right, next up are the pieces that I worked on for Bringo. So I have 5 pieces on my Bringo board. I worked on 2 of them, one of them for 3 pulls, both of them for 3 pulls. So first up is Moonlight Magic, which I call Majestic Unicorn. It is in an issue of Ultimate Cross Stitch Christmas Magazine. Looks like this. My lights in front of me are super bright. It's late in the afternoon and I'm wearing, I didn't think about this, but I'm wearing a hoodie that's light blue, which blue pulls color super odd, so I turned on some extra light to help, which is great, except there's some extra glare. It's okay though. All right, so it is in here, and one day it'll look like this. I started this piece for my daughter many years ago, back when she actually liked unicorns. Now, as she told me, because I worked on it over this past weekend, so she said she promises she will keep it forever, however, she is likely not going to hang it up in her room. That's fair. Like, by the time I'm done with this, she'll be 18. Totally fair. All right, I am stitching this with all the called for colors. It's on a piece of 32 count white even weave. Nothing crazy. Looks like this. It is full coverage, or will be when I'm done. I actually, so the way that the pattern says all this background should have been half stitches, but I didn't pay attention to the pattern when I first started, and I just like the full coverage look, so mine is all full coverage, full X's. I worked over here in this section just a little bit. I also worked down here, got some of this filled in, and I did some more of the white and the light gray. I was kind of a little bit all over the place. The way that I had the floss pulled for this, I was just trying to use the color flosses that I already had on my little punch card, because I was using like 3x5 index cards back when I started this. I still use that sometimes, but I had a couple of those, and I was just trying to use the floss that I had pulled on those cards just so I can transition to something else later. So because of that, I used a little bit of the blue, a little bit of the light gray, some of the white, you know, whatever pieces I had just kind of hanging out there. So this will come out for 2 more hours, and I am going to focus up here because I want to get the rest of these legs done so I can finish the back stitching on this part of the unicorn. I'm doing the back stitching as I go. I don't like to do it until I have the whole area to where I can back stitch properly. If I wait till the end and back stitch, it will just not happen. So back stitching as I go, and I'm going to focus predominantly on this leg and this area right here. So I still have a lot to go on this, but if I could finish it before my daughter turns 18, that would be great. I've got this whole border on this side, the border down here at the bottom. This is actually the very bottom, so it's just got like a little square that goes below this. So it's not horrible, but definitely more than what I can finish in the next 2 times this is called, because that's only 2 hours. Still, Majestic Unicorn came out, stitches were put in, so I am happy about that because I have not touched this piece in a solid year. So that was good. All right, the next piece that I worked on for Bringo was, let me see what this is actually called. Spring Has Sprung. So Spring Has Sprung, it's on my board 5 times, and I worked on it for 3 calls. It is from the World of Cross Stitching magazine, issue number 40. Looks like this. This is what I call a stereotypical magazine piece. So lots of color changes, lots of backstitch, absolutely beautiful. I am super excited to finish this one up. So I am stitching mine on a piece of 28 count casual linen from Picture This Plus in the color Carnival. And you want to notice how weird the word casual linen is? Just notice that today. Anyway, this is where I am at. And let's see, what did I work on? So I filled in this guy. First of all, there is 5 different colors in the center of this flower. 5. So got that filled in. I filled in the rest of this flower. There was still some areas that needed to be filled in. I got some additional light yellow done up in here. Started the little bit of gray because I had leftover gray from the like 3 dots of gray in this piece to fill in over here. And is that it? Yes. I also had a little bit of extra yellow over here, but I had miscounted, so I had to frog that. That was not my day of frogging. I didn't even log that because it was only like 30 stitches, 20 stitches, somewhere in there. So did not take very long. I caught it right away, thank goodness. If I find that I mess something up as I'm going, I pretty much always take it out and redo it. But if I discover I mess something up later and I've already done other stitching around it, I'm probably just gonna let it go and make it work. But that is where we are. This took me forever. I feel like 3 hours of work should have accomplished a lot more than it did, But man, color changes, I forgot. That is no joke. And there was a whole lot of counting because there's so many color changes. So I don't know, I got spoiled working on all of my big blocks of color, and so this, for whatever reason, very slow going, but it will be 100% worth it. So my goal for the next call is I want to get the rest of this flower here filled in, and then I'm backstitching this one as I go as well, but I'm not going to do the backstitch until I get the area around these flowers filled in, just obviously so that my backstitch lays properly. So that is where we're at there. Okay, the next one that I worked on, try not to mix my stuff up here. Next one I worked on was a new start for this month. This is the Cat Tarot 6, The Lovers by Dirty Annie's. Will one day look like this or something similar to. The person who I'm stitching this for has asked that I make the colors just a little bit muted, specifically the reds. So, well, I think specifically this red, but it'll look basically like this. I am stitching it with the called for DMC, and I am stitching it on a piece of 40 count Ashley Down linen in the color Tabby Cat. So I was very excited about this. We have a border, and the border lines up. Woo woo, woo woo. So it was funny, my husband was like, why isn't it straight? It looks kind of wavy. I assured him it's just because of the way that I have the fabric pulled on the Q-snap. It will all line up beautifully once I take it off the Q-snap. But my border matches. Also, the color I chose in the middle here is a little bit more antique-y than the color that it has from the DMC. And as I'm stitching, so I live in Arizona, we have a college called Arizona State University, ASU. Their colors are maroon and gold with black outline. This is straight up ASU. I felt like I was stitching an ASU border. I was having flashbacks to college years, and that is a totally different vibe than this. But it's okay. Once I start filling the stuff in, it will no longer read ASU, because if I stitch any more of these, I'm going to go with that same border color. So it will no longer read ASU. Instead, it will look like a quirky cat tarot card. All right, goal for this, I'm just kind of doing some goals and plans as we go in this video. So goal on this one is before the next video, I'm keeping this one going because it is a gift, but I am going to start in on the sun. Do not think I will be finishing the sun in the next 2 weeks, but I do think I can at least get the outline done and start doing a little bit of fill-in. I also need to see how bright the yellow is that I pulled for this. It calls for DMC 307, which is a pretty bright lemony yellow, but I think because I'm only using one strand, it will be just fine on this color fabric. So that is Cat Tarot. All right, next up is the piece I had to frog, and it looks kind of the same, but not really. So I pulled out Tree of Butterflies by Alessandra Adelaide. Will one day look something like this. This is a gorgeous piece that I started for Mania back in like 2019, 2020. I don't know. It was a Mania start. I had stitched a chunk of this brown right here, and so this actually comes with 2 different sets of the same pattern. One has the pattern spread across like literally 4 pages. I don't know why, but for some reason I chose to start in the center, and the center spreads across all 4 of those pages. So why I chose to follow that pattern is beyond me. Clearly I had a thought process at the time. Clearly it didn't work because my counting was all off. No matter what place I started from, I had 2 instead of 3. I had 4 where there should be 2. It was all off. And although it was like the center here of the tree, which I could have probably made do with, I wasn't very far. So I figured, why? Let's just start over. I frogged all of that out, which again, I do not frog often, so that literally took me over an hour to frog, I don't know, like 300 stitches, if that, of just one section. It took forever. It'll be worth it in the end. So I worked on frogging for a good hour, and then I worked on stitching for an hour. I wonder if this counts as a new start, since I literally started over. You tell me in the comments, does it count as a new start? I already have this in my whip list, but should I do the start date? Should I edit that? I mean, technically I don't even have the original start date, so I could just say I started it in 2025. Not a lie, because I frogged the beginning, right? That totally works. Okay, anyway, so I frogged it, I started over, Tree of Butterflies, Alessandra Adelaide. I am stitching mine on a piece of 32 count Picture This Plus in the color Pixie Dust. It's super pretty. I hope, oh, this is actually coming across really well. It kind of matches my sweatshirt. It's very rainbowy, light blue-esque. So we're here. I am now following the pattern that just spreads from the front to the back of a piece of paper. So I am not off in my counting. I have checked it like 5 times. I use counting pins, the whole 9 yards. So I feel confident that this is the correct amount of stitches and it started in the right place. That's the other reason that I frogged, is I have this beautiful piece of linen. It's gorgeous. It's hand dyed. I'm sure it wasn't cheap because I got it from the attic. So yeah, I had started stitching this like way up high, which, I mean, it would not have fit. So that's no good. When I did the fabric calculator, at first I was thinking there's no way this tree is going to take up this big old piece. But in all honesty, when I put in a 3-inch border, I was like within 1 inch of this thing. So over 2 with like a 3 to 4 inch border. Yeah. And I was not going to try to start in the corner because I can't figure out when you have a piece like this where there's nothing in the corner, right? Like I have one of those corner start things, the squares, which is super helpful. So I know where that is, but then trying to count from there to figure out where the top of the piece is and how many over one, I just, nope. Center of the fabric, it will take up most of it, so it's not wasteful. It will fit, and the stitches are right. So a little bit of work was done on this. I took it out of the Q-snap because this is not slotted to come out again for this month. I only used it for the T in the acrostic for timer. And looks like I stitched, so far I'm only using the color Timber from Crescent Colorworks. This is a really great color for tree bark. I mean, it's literally called Timber, so I guess that makes sense. But I love it. I went through my stash. Luckily, I have 2 more skeins of this, so I didn't have to make an order because I did not think I was strong enough to just order this. But we're good to go. I should have more than enough for this tree because I've got the rest of this plus 2 more, so we should be okay there. All right, that is Tree of Butterflies. It's funny, when I first started Flosstube, Alessandra Adelaide was like my favorite designer. I still love her stuff, but she's not, I don't pick it up quite as often. So it's funny to go through all of my whips and see the stuff I started way back when, because there's so much of her, so many of her projects that are just started and not done. So I have no idea what I will do with this when I finish it, but it's girly, it's cute, I like it. We'll find a place for it. Okay, the next thing I stitched on, actually the last thing I stitched on, was the piece I stitched on today. So today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. It is also Inauguration Day. And the piece that I had chosen for my New Year New Start was E Pluribus Unum by Jan Hicks. I didn't start it on New Year's because I was still trying to finish New Year in the Village. So I realized we have Inauguration Day in January. This is a very fitting piece, so why not start that today? So I held it and I started it today. So it will eventually look like this. I love Jan Hicks's colors. Jan, I don't even try to touch your colors because it's what draws me to all of your pieces. So called for colors, I pulled fabric I had in my stash. So I'm stitching this on a piece of 32 count toasted almond linen by Fabrics by Stephanie. I got this in my Fabric of the Month Club from Garan back when I was part of that. And I just started it today. I only worked on it for 45 minutes. So this will go right back up on my stand because I still have more work to do because I need to get 2 hours in, but we are here. So obviously I started up in the top corner. I am stitching the words, and I have been stitching in the color Heirloom Gold by Simply Shaker. Or wait, by The Gentle Arts. That makes more sense. Okay. This color is gorgeous. I love this color. I actually did not own any of this color, and it's like the perfect autumny golden. It's not brassy, it's not brown. It's straight up heirloom gold. It looks old. It's old and gold. But one day this will look like this. I only have this slotted to be worked on for the letter E in our acrostic. So I will keep this out today to do the last hour and 15 minutes. So we'll see. I might get through the words because I think it took me longer to get this thing on the Q-snap and figure out where to start than it did to stitch this. That was pretty quick. So I might finish the words, and then plans for this one, it will come out again next month, and I'll start working on this big old block of blue. So we're gonna start here. I don't know how I'm gonna stitch this one yet. I like the idea of coming down here in the rows because this looks much faster than this blue, but also if I'm watching a show or something, once I stitch around the outline of the stars, this would be really nice to do like a little fill-in. We'll see when I start stitching it. But for now, stitching some words. Okay, that is it for whips, new starts, all that stuff. Move this to the side. What do we still have? We have plans, we have giveaways. What is on top? On top is giveaway. Okay, so 2 weeks ago, I guess now, I did a giveaway for Barbara Anna Designs Funky Bird. I finished this before my last video. So I am giving away the color copy of this that comes in this chart. And I'm also including my working copy. I didn't write on it at all, but it's like folded, but it's not in color. So if you prefer black and white, you'll have that. If you prefer a larger color chart, you'll have that. Whatever works. I did a random number generator, and I was actually really excited about this because the winner of Funky Bird is Ann Link. Ann has been a long time watcher of my Flosstube videos and also a friend. So I did use a random number generator, but I was excited to pull her name because Ann is actually, she is the first person to ever send me something that I was talking about on my Flosstube video many moons ago as just it was just a very nice gesture. And I still remember that because no one had ever done that before. And so I'm excited because I pulled your name, Ann. So, Ann, I will message you and get your address. I think I already have it. I just want to confirm, and I will pop this in the mail. So, congratulations, Ann. For this week's video, I am giving away, hold on, let me take it out. Sticking with the theme of I just finished it, so let's pass it on. We have New Year in the Village by Alessandra Adelaide. So I used a working copy on this chart, so I double checked, and the full chart that came with this is included in here. So if this is something that you would like to stitch, I don't see this very often, so I don't know if this is being stitched by all that many people, But if you would like to stitch this, it is beautiful, it is blocks of color, it is super fun, then use the word village. I will ship this anywhere in the world. I mean, it might take eternity to get to you, but I'll ship it to you if you're outside the US. Heck, if you're in the US, it still might take eternity, but I will ship it to you. So yeah, use the word village. Don't use the word giveaway. Make sure you can give me your address, all those fun things. But yeah, if you want to stitch this, then let me know. And I will pull the winner for that right before my next video. So you have roughly 2-ish weeks. Plans. I've already talked about the majority of my plans. The only things that I am adding, I need to pull out, I actually need to start. This is like the month of starts. So I have, for some of my calls for my Bringo, because for me, I'm using all magazine pieces for my pop-up challenges. So I didn't have a magazine piece that fit some of the prompts for Bringo. So I am doing this cover piece here. So I have pulled the floss, and I'm actually going to stitch it in white, even though on my last video I said I was not going to, because I have another huge piece that is all in white. I went through my stash and I realized I picked up a lot a while back that had a whole bunch of floss, and that person owned like 35 skeins of the color Blanc DMC white. Literally over 30 skeins of this stuff. So I've got most of that slotted for the big piece I'm working on. However, even with having, I think that one calls for like 13 skeins or something like that, I still have so much. I have so much white. And, you know, I have white from other pieces that I've worked on, and, you know, B5200, which I know is different, but I just feel like I have so many shades of white. And I have tons of really dark, bright fabric. So that's what we're gonna do. I need to pull the fabric for that and get this piece started. So that will be a new start you guys will see before the next video. As well as for my acrostic, and just because I wanted to have more magazine pieces running, since I am focusing on magazines this year for pop-up challenges, I realized I needed more than 4 magazine pieces. So I have pulled everything I need for this tiny little ornament. It might be a start and a finish because I am supposed to work on this for 4 hours. I don't know if I'll get to 4 hours before my next video, but I'm gonna try, and I at least want to get it started. So that is Dashing Through the Snow by Lucy Heaton Cross Stitch Designs, and it is in the 2018 Cross Stitch Christmas, just Cross Stitch Christmas Ornament Edition. There we go, we'll get there. So I need to start both of those, and then my big focus is going to be, I gotta focus on my dang Whip Go board because I have 2 huge pieces for that, and I'm supposed to stitch on them for 10 hours each. I've gotten like 30 minutes in on one that was a new start that I don't even want to show you all until I actually have work done on it. So, because it's like 9 stitches. So, anyway, I'm pulling out Spring Quakers. We're here, 10 hours. May not have 10 hours done with the rest of my stuff by the next time I visit with you all, but there'll at least be some progress on there. I got to get these ones out. So I am taking these out, moving them to the living room where I do my stitching, and getting them put on a Q-snap so I can more easily grab them and get some work done. Okay. I don't have any haul. I did buy so Carolyn from Seasook Stitch, she talked about how she logs her cross stitch projects and she uses index cards, and her and I got to talking because of course I fell in love with the idea, as I usually do when it comes to Carolyn. She enables me to do everything stitch related. So we got to chatting, and she sent me a link to an organizer, like a card holder. I'm doing this because it opens and shuts. I'll show it to you guys next video. I just haven't set it up yet. But I did pick that up off of Amazon. So it is for cross stitch, and I am trying to really account for everything that is cross stitch related as part of my Stitch from Stash. So I will be taking that out of my budget. I have a couple of finishes that I did this month, so therefore I am still in the black, which is great. Have no other purchases. So January 20th, still on track. Okay, I think that's it. If you want to stitch New Year in the Village, use the word village. If you don't want to stitch New Year in the Village and you don't want to be entered to win, leave a comment, say hello. I'll make sure to reply. And hopefully you guys are having a great Monday. Hopefully you have a great couple of weeks. Happy stitching, and I will see you all then. Bye.